shall we talk politics, more politics now? Now the All Progressives Congress, APC, is at a crossroads regarding the options of who to pick its presidential candidate following the emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the flag bearer of the PDP. Now the ruling party will need a formidable candidate as the opponent of Atiku, and this is making its forthcoming presidential primary a tightrope to climb. In preparation for the task, the APC has commenced screening of the 23 frontline presidential aspirants. Some of them screened on Monday include the APC national leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Pastor Tunde Bakare, Rotimi Amaechie, and many others. Meanwhile, the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, who participated in the PDP presidential primary, is making moves to reclaim the governorship ticket in the state. The secretary to the government, Ibrahim Kashim, won the governorship ticket as the sole aspirant. Governor Mohammed is on the verge of taking the governorship ticket from Kashim. The contest the election for a second term next year. But first, let's share what transpired at the APC presidential screening on Monday with you. Very interesting. Watch on. Well, that's to show you a little of what transpired at the APC screening on Monday. So it's a tightrope, and we'll watch with bated breath, as they say.
I disagree that it's a tightrope.
Okay.
The party just needs to do what is right. Let the choice of the delegates, since we've elected to have the party primaries conducted in this manner, it's not it's by delegates. Let the choice of the delegates prevail.
Yeah, prevail, yeah. It's simple logic.
If the people say, okay, this is who we want, so be it. It's not for the president or anybody to choose an individual. No, that's not democracy. You see, if we are talking about tightrope now, there is self-inflicted. You expect that there will be an election. We expect that the winner should be the choice, the standard bearer of the party. So where is the tightrope? The tightrope comes when you don't know what to do. You are in two minds, whether to force consensus on people or to simply allow the wish of the delegates to prevail. If you fail to allow the wish of the delegates to prevail, then you are creating problems for the party. You are creating divisions that could cause the loss of the party. And hold on a bit.
Yeah.
And the party has suffered in the past because of this kind of intervention in the electoral process. Where you cheat the people, denying somebody who should win of victory, then that person goes to work against the party. We've seen it happen. We've seen APC lose some states in 2019 because of that. We want them, but they won't listen. We want them, but they won't listen. And they lost some of those states. These people want to contest. Allow them, let the true winner prevail. That way, there's no tightrope. Is the truth? We had Atiku win the other day. Was there a tightrope? No. What I want to see is a democratic process similar to what transpired during the PDP presidential convention. The choice of the people whose duty, whose mandate was to pick the winner, prevailed in the final analysis. There was no riot after the thing. Nobody climbed the podium to cry like a baby. The true winner emerged and people walked home. So after that, then you can reconcile with people that you have defeated, like a true winner.
Jide, but, they keep Nigerians guessing. And, let me compare what is going on to what our participation at the World Cup. While you understand me, when we seemingly are facing wahala at the World Cup, you begin to see permutations and speculations. If we have this, if Brazil does not concede to, and so on and so on. So they're keeping the people waiting. I'm guessing.
They can't keep us waiting till kingdom come.
No.
Whether the leaders of the APC like it or not, this time around they must hold their primary election. They must hold it. And what I see is where they fail to allow the person who deserves to win to become the standard bearer of the party, or try to force people to accept a fait accompli by the president and governors, then they may just embarrass themselves. Atiku has emerged, as I said on Sunday, and I'm repeating it because it's a statement of fact. Atiku emerging as the candidate of the PDP has made an APC victory even more difficult. That is a fact. Because
at the general election.
Yes, because it is not a pushover. Anybody who can run the race against the president, a sitting president, the way he did, pushing him right to the end and taking new states that his party didn't control before, winning fresh states. That's not the sort of person that will be on the ballot and you want to joke with him. If you bring someone who is not popular enough, who does not have cross-country support and appeal, you are not going to be able to defeat an Atiku. Because this Atiku is on record. Atiku had contested elections and done well. He may not have won all the elections that is conducted, but he's done well. He's done well. He's a formidable opponent. For those who understand politics, I see a lot of permutations, funny permutations. For those who understand politics, he's a formidable opponent. He knows the game. That's why he's been right up there for many years. Somebody who has been contesting for 29 years. At some point, you want to bet that he could make it, because Abraham Lincoln didn't get tired of contesting until he finally got it. So if you imagine that someone could contest many times and ultimately get lucky, if you don't want him to get lucky, then the party has to do the right thing, choose someone that will be acceptable to the generality of the people. When you do that, everyone will now rally around
that fellow.
Yes, that ticket will now galvanize everyone. Yeah. That's the way it should be done.
Wale, again, in Nigeria, Nigerian politics is said to be a nascent one. And after 21 years, we're still in the classroom. It's a nascent democracy.
Well, it's a very unfortunate thing. APC has a very unique opportunity when it came to power in 2015. But I doubt if the party has been able to manage that success in a way that will...
After all, the incumbent tried 4 times.
In a way that will even give the impression to Nigerians that they can stay continuously for 16 years like PDP did. Because they enjoyed a lot of goodwill from Nigerians. But if you look at what has been happening in the past 2 years, you discover that the game for the presidency began almost 2 years ago, when almost a sole administrator was imposed on the party. They kept on changing the convention, national convention, and even now we are talking about presidential primary. They kept on changing the primary, And even you look at the decision-making process. Who are the people that took those decisions? For instance, payment of 100 million naira. Which organ of the party took that decision to shift the party from one day to the other? And when I read the report about the screening, they said the report will be submitted to the president. What would the president do with the with the report, because the party does not belong to only one person. The decisions needs to be taken based on the philosophy of internal democracy. And there are organs of the party that should take decisions on what even the screening committee, who are the people that selected them. Sorry to add this, because these are very important questions. And then, but there are certain things that are clear. From the PDP primaries, that it appears APC was also waiting to see the outcome. It's not likely that APC will pick a candidate from the Northwest or the Northeast, where Atiku comes from. So if anybody wants to contest from the North, or still under APC, from what we have seen from PDP, because those are the big players, APC and PDP, I don't expect APC to pick any from the North. I don't think it should happen. And also,
Atiku will crush whoever
yes,
comes on that side.
just like you have said, Atiku started contesting as far back as 92. In fact, he was a potential vice president candidate of Abiola. They had a moment that time, I think PDM, Progressive Democratic Movement.
Oh, yeah.
It was an unstoppable machine.
That's it.
Led by General Yaradua.
Late Yaradua.
Yes, it was only Babangida had to screen Yaradua everywhere. He went, they will wreak havoc. Nobody could stop them. And that was the machinery that Atiku inherited. He contested Kurabi. In fact, instead of picking King Gibe, Abiola had wanted to pick Atiku. So since that time, when we are talking about national networking, when we are talking about wealth, when we are talking about,
so put simply, Atiku
and it was the APC. Don't
for
forget.
the moment, Atiku remains the man to beat.
Yes. So the APC needs somebody of equal or greater capacity. If you go and pick somebody from narrow prison, an unseated candidate, Atiku will crush that person. I'm telling you. So the APC has a big task ahead of the party. And that is why I think the starting point is to ensure that the party does not break up. To ensure the party does not break up, allow free and fair primaries. This guy that will say that you want to disqualify some people. Who are you to disqualify who? For what now? Let the delegates choose. You are screening, you are all that. What is civil? I mean, if we know that security agencies look at credentials of candidates.
Yeah.
They do their own screening.
Yeah.
But these are their committees and all that, fine. But they don't have legal power to say that this person cannot contest. They don't.
And
so they should allow it.
And if from the guidelines and the law governing this process, if someone feels that he's been treated badly, and you do not give him a chance to protest through the legal channel, if he goes to court, that the whole process is a nullity. And at this stage, they ought to know this, because that's why it is provided for that there will be a panel that responds to petitions and all that. That has to be accommodated. If anybody feels wronged and you deny him that channel,
there will be a problem.
Then there's going to be a problem that may lead to the voiding of the entire process. So this is a time to use their heads rather than their intuition. Do what is right. It's not difficult to do what is right. Trying to avoid doing what is right is what is really difficult. I mean, it's a very easy choice. Let the people decide who will be the standard bearer.
Because the voter is king.
Yes.
The voter is king.
For a few individuals to simply say, oh, we want so person. And you are saying you want to prove the numbers.
We are joined by George Atikeja. George, good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, citizens. And good evening to everybody there.
Okay, then.
Babajide, let me first thank you for what you and your team are doing for Nigeria. I've been listening to you for some time now.
Thanks.
Where you speak truth to power. We need journalists like you in this country.
Thank you.
What is happening at the APC, I would put it at the feet of the president. I'm sorry to say this, but that's how I feel. The whole shenanigans appears to be approved by the president. Otherwise, it will not be like that. It appears the APC can only learn lessons the hard way, the way they had lost some states in the recent past. If they are not very careful, they may lose the presidency this time around. All they are trying to do is to skim out the right person that can win the election.
All right, Judge, thank you very kindly. We got you first time. Jide, but there's one key thing. The people, the elector, the voter is king here. It appears he's schemed out because it is not the PDP that will elect Atiku, make him pass, or whoever the APC put. It's the voter, the man on the street, the ordinary voter. Does the politician take him into account when they do these things? Because he's watching.
Ultimately, the voter will still be the king. But at this level, we are talking about party elective positions and party primaries. Delegates, just a reflection of the party. A fraction of the members of the party will choose. There's nothing we can do about that. Even in advanced democracies, delegates elect standard bearers for parties. At the main election, it is an all-comers affair. Once you have the voter's card, so the voter will still be king. The voter is waiting patiently. And when I say that if they do not make the right choice, they could pay for it, I'm not referring to delegates. I'm referring to that voter, the ordinary voter, because at the point when we have the general election, that is when he has to then decide. So if you pick someone who is not popular enough, and you think that you can get the voters to simply vote for that person, somebody that they don't see as popular, somebody that they don't like, that is when you will discover that the voter is indeed the king. At this stage, the ordinary voter has little or nothing to do with what's going on. But it will get to his turn to show the power that resides in his voter's card. So they have got to make the right choice. And the right choice is the person who can stand up to Atiku, who can actually defeat Atiku. If we don't make the right choice, it's going to be easy for Atiku. That's the truth.
Well, Wale, I dropped that in the discussion just so we go back to the Second Republic.
Yeah.
Experience, hindsight will tell us that during the Second Republic, the party had a structure.
Yes.
And so at what point did politics become like this in our country? Today, we hear of governors becoming more powerful than the center and all that.
You see, if there are a lot of reasons that we cannot begin to state here, so many reasons. Military fascism, militarization of our culture and heritage. But the important thing is that...
You think we have not recovered enough?
We have not recovered enough because the important thing is that democracy is government of the people. The people should be the stakeholders. But the situation where you are talking about a few people, they just sit down somewhere and you keep on saying we are the biggest party in Nigeria, and then these few caucus, kitchen cabinet, take decisions and imposes, that decision on everyone.
A decision binding on everybody.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, if you look at AP, even when they were they started picking, ministers and all that, I'm not sure there was wide consultation, because democracy is about group interests. People made sacrifices, southwest, southeast. So if you want to share positions, you sit down with their leaders. Look, this is it. Where do we go from here? But just pick people that you think should be loyal to you instead of being loyal to the party. And this thing has been a kind of albatross on the APC. And they think that, they can just do this and get away with it. A lot of Nigerians are watching. And that's why we are saying that, look, this primary, allow delegates to choose. Don't go and sit down somewhere and say consensus candidate. Consensus candidate is another name for imposition. in this contest. You don't sit down somewhere and then
It's not
because
democracy.
you want somebody you can control, somebody you can manipulate, somebody that will dance to your, instead of somebody that will dance to the tunes of Nigerians. You want that your parochial interest to be defended and protected. That will not fail. And if Nigerians find out that APC can no longer represent their interests, they will look for alternatives. They will look for alternatives. So APC needs to be very careful to ensure that the will of the people triumph. In this case, those delegates, let them vote. Don't impose the consensus candidates on them.
At this point, it is not wrong to talk about a dark horse, a third force. Have you given a thought to that?
There's no such thing as a third force in the current dispensation. It's not going to happen.
You think the two front runners will just be it?
The two front runners, are you talking about the APC?
Yeah, and the PDP.
The presidential election will be won by one of the two dominant parties. There's not going to be anything like a third force, and I want to be quoted. Those who doubt what I'm saying, they should remind me in 2023 whether indeed a third force will materialize. There's no such thing as a third force.
Okay. You don't envisage...
The third force will not take power. The nature of our politics, you can't just emerge from nowhere. Even the APC, that is a merger of different parties, it took them some years. From 2013, they were working very hard at it, and major opposition parties, ABGA, ANPP, PDP, CPC, they came together. But to imagine that a solitary party will just come out of the woods and win, upstage those two parties, it's not going to happen.